Welcome to Law Story Nigeria. My name is Aro John Obizo. But if you just joined for the very first time, I say a very big welcome to you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so that whenever a new episode drops, you'll be the first to know about it. To all our returning subscribers, we say a very big thank you to you for always joining in on Law Story Nigeria whenever a new episode drops. So this particular episode, I'm talking about something that is actually disturbing. It's fast becoming a norm, and it's because it's growing rampant in various places of work. Like almost everywhere now, everything they happen. I'm sure if I ask now, it may have happened to you, my dear esteemed viewer. Like the way employers now at will and without caution make deductions and take away money from people's salary, their employees' salary and wages, in the name of trying to enforce certain rules or certain things in the office. For example, a situation where an employee comes late. I've heard so many instances an employee will come late, possibly you're supposed to resume by 8 o'clock, you resume by 8:30, and the employer decides to punish you by taking away 5,000 naira or 2,000 naira or 3,000 naira from your salary. That's actually crazy. It a madman. It bust my brain. Like the question is, how do employers think this is okay to do? Now, the question is it actually illegal, or can an employer, even when it is signed between an employer and employee, can it be a valid agreement that whenever you come late, your employer will deduct from your salary and cannot say anything? Like, can an employer deduct from an employee's salary without any repercussion or at will as it pleases, or for the purpose of any fines or punishment? Now, dear employers and employees, did you know that it's an offense for an employer to actually make unauthorized deductions from an employee's salary? Oh, you're surprised? Let me bust your bubble. It's actually an offense. It is illegal for an employer to actually make deductions from an employee's salary, except in the case of authorized deductions. Yes, you heard me right. There are certain deductions that are authorized that, yes, under the law, you can be allowed to do. I'm going to refer you to the relevant provision of the law so that you know what I am saying is backed by law. As an employer, you've been deducting your employee's salary because this one came late, this one did not finish his work on time. This one, it is illegal. You're not allowed to do that. Yes, and you employee, now you know. But it is not to encourage you to not do your work as you are supposed to. It is illegal for an employer to deduct from the salary of an employee or wages of an employee, except when it's authorized by law. Now, what part of the law actually stipulates this? Now, I'm referring to the provision of Section 5 of the Nigerian Labour Act. I'll read it for you quickly so that you know what it actually states. Now, let me read Section 5 sub 1. It says, except where it is expressly permitted by this act or any other law, no employer shall make any deduction or make any agreement or contract with a worker for any deduction from the wages to be paid by the employer to the worker, or for any payment to the employer by the worker for or in respect of any fines. You can actually download the Nigerian Labour Act on Google and actually read the provision of Section 5. Now, Section 5 sub 1 is saying, no employer is authorized. You can't even go into an agreement for the purpose of deducting your employee's salary. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to do that. It is not authorized or supported by the law. There's a proviso, however, to this Section 5 sub 1. It says, provided that with the prior consent in writing of the authorized labor officer, emphasis on authorized labor officer, a reasonable deduction may be made in respect of injury or loss caused to the employer by the willful misconduct or neglect of the worker. So you, employee that you have started jubilating that you challenge your worker, in the event where it is established that you were negligent or you willfully caused such loss or damage, you can be liable. However, it is not that once there's a loss or damage, the employer will just dip and wow. It says, and I repeat, let me read that provision so I will say it again. It says, with the prior consent to writing of an authorized labor officer, a reasonable deduction may be made. So the employer, yes, the law will not just prohibit it absolutely. It will give a little room so that in case the employee misbehaves, the employer can seek redress. Now, it states that where there is such willful misconduct or neglect that results in loss, the employer can make a reasonable deduction. Maybe if somebody comes by 8, you're supposed to resume 8 o'clock, come by 8:20, for example, you deduct 5,000 naira from a salary of 15,000. What is remaining? By the time you do it 2 times, it means the money has finished. It has finished. It says you may make such reasonable deduction, however, with the consent of an authorized labor officer. Now, that labor officer, know that is a labor officer of the Ministry of Labor. So, Oga, you that have been deducting from your employee's salary, I ask you a question: do you have authorized consent of a labor officer to be deducted, or you're just deducting it because you're the Oga, you're the madam? Oga self it is madams these days that it's more common among madams. I am sorry, I am not taking any sides, but it's more common these days amongst madams. Why are you making deductions from your salary? Why? Especially when there is an employment agreement, a contract of employment between parties. There should be stipulations on how to address misconduct by employees, not by deduction of salaries. Now, it is not me saying, it is the Labor Act saying employers are not authorized to make deductions from salaries or wages of employees or workers, except for certain designated deductions. Now, let me read the provision of Section 5 Sub 2. It says, an employer may, with the consent of a worker, make deduction from the wages of the worker and pay to the appropriate person any contribution to provident or pension funds or other schemes agreed by the worker and approved by the state authority. So, an employer is allowed to make deductions for tax, pension. Possibly, if it's where there's a housing scheme, you can make such deductions. However, it says an employer with the consent of the worker. You can't even do it except the worker consent. That is why you have a contract of employment. You state in the contract of employment, once the employee signs. The problem is these days we don't have contract of employment. People just employ. Even the employee, if you are employing, you will not even request for your employment letter or your employment contract. Employers these days don't want to give you so they can dodge and evade responsibilities. But we'll talk about contract of employment possibly in the next episode, because that was another issue. A lot of employers are doing dangerous things in contract of employment. Either they don't give, or they give. What they give is as hopeless as not giving. So yes, even for those authorized deductions, there must be consent. If you go further in sub 3, sub 4, it talks about membership of trade union. Now, let me use myself for example. I'm a lawyer. But virtually being a lawyer, I'm a member of the Nigerian Bar Association. And being a member of the Nigerian Bar Association, pursuant to the rules of professional conduct, I'm supposed to be under a branch. I'm supposed to, yes, especially for the purpose of if I want to get my seals and all that, it is commonsensical and it's required that I am a member of a branch. Now, possibly I'm under a Lagos branch of the Nigerian Bar Association, for example. My boss cannot just, before he pays my salary, my employer, now make deductions and pay to the the Lagos branch of the Nigerian Bar Association without first me giving such consent. That is what is taken care in sub 3 of sub. I think yes, it's provided for in sub 3, sub 4. Sub 4 particularly says no deduction shall be made from the wages and salaries of persons who are eligible members of any of the trade unions specified in Part B of Schedule 3 of the Trade Unions Act, except if the person concerned has accepted in writing to make voluntary contributions to the trade union. So, for the purpose of trade union, for example, your employment or your trade as an employer is covered by certain trade union, and your employees are supposed to be members. You cannot deduct from your salary the salary of your employee or your worker to pay the trade union without that employee consenting. You must get such consent. So, their employers are always in the habit of feeling like it is your right to touch because you're the one paying it, to deduct from employee salary anyhow. This is a call to order for you. Employees that do not know, now you know the provision of the law. Before, and even in the case of loss or damage, there must be that authorized consent to deduct. But this is most times some of this provision of law, we are oblivious of it, so we do anyhow, we do things the way we want to do it. Now, I'm sure you will say, what is your business? What will happen if you did that? You didn't pay. So if he doesn't want, you should go. It is a crime. It is an offense for you as an employer to make unauthorized deductions from your employee's salary. You don't agree. You don't believe. You're doing like this. Okay, let me now show you. It is provided for in Section 21 of the Labor Act. I will not call out the fine here so that the employers will not be encouraged to breach this offense. Now, however, it's not just about the fine, it's about the fact that if you're found liable and convicted, there's a tag of convict on your head. Yes, even when you're convicted to pay a fine. So now it stipulates the offense, and even the court may in its wisdom, notwithstanding the amount stipulated by law because it's an old law, the court can in its wisdom give you the equivalent of that amount then now, like the recent equivalent of that amount. It will fine you or such amount as it may think that yes, it's actually judicious or it's reasonable. The court has that power to exercise such discretion. So you do not want to be convicted, arrested, and charged with an offense that you can avoid. In your contract of employment with your employees, do well to have a lawyer prepare some very decent, reasonable terms on how to address misconduct, suspension, termination of employment, compulsory leave. You may do it in a manner which is in line with the law, but not to be making unauthorized deductions from the salaries of your employees or your workers. Dear employers, I'm sure you've been properly addressed and schooled and guided on how the law stands with regards to unauthorized deductions from salaries of employees or workers. Dear employees, I'm sure by now you now know what the law states and be guided. See, most times when these things happen, don't just take it. Seek advice, seek counsel. If it's the one that yes, okay, this thing, yes, it's the way it's supposed to be, you will know. If it's not the way it's supposed to be, you'll be directed on how to do it. So I hope on this particular episode of Law Training Nigeria, you'll be able to learn something that will actually guide you in your practice, either as an employer, employee, oga or madam, because employees tomorrow will become employers. It's better we all know this thing so that tomorrow we can actually do better. So until the next episode, my name remains Aro John Obizo, but don't forget to like, share, comment. If you have anything you want to discuss, drop in the comment section. We'll pick it and we'll discuss about it in the next episode or any other episode that may come thereafter. This is Law Tori Nigeria, and for me, I say stay tuned, God bless you, and until we see you on the next episode, stay out of wahala. Don't get into trouble. Thank you very much for watching.